for us. The middle was APAC. Have fun. Have fun, have fun, have fun, have fun, have fun. No.
Oh, what? How many did you say?
Shink is having a lot of fun. Well, I did have fun, 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 have fun. Any more?
I think we're good now. I think we got it.
We've had enough fun.
Heading into the bands.
Now we head into the game.
Oh,
good luck,
have fun. All right, there we go. A different iteration.
Good energy. Good energy at the beginning of this game, which is what you want, because these are two very good teams. They have a bit of a fun recent story in that it was one or the other that was able to get to Mexico. Vitality were the ones sitting at home watching, and NAVI, they got there. They didn't have the best time when they got there, but they got there.
They were
and
there.
Still getting there is the feat, is the tough challenge. Now, obviously, with a recent turn of form and with how competitive the middle of the table has sort of found itself, there's still a fight to have for the chance to get to Sweden, Sverige.
Yeah, definitely there is the opportunity to. Team Secret, the team that just lost, is the only team in the league that has no more opportunity to make it to Sverige.
Well, yeah, obviously you're going to pronounce it better.
I think it's Sverige.
Well, you pronounce it better than me.
How do you say Sweden in Swedish? Is it Sverige? Sverige. Sverige. Yeah. Sverige. No, he says Sweden.
I like how whenever you ask Milos a question,
he just comes by.
He walks over like a teacher. Like, he does a teacher
I'm asking him a question, and he teaches us the right answer.
But he does do a teacher walk. Like, you could imagine...
He could be a good teacher, actually.
A fantastic teacher.
But what would he teach? Probably languages.
Languages.
Yeah.
History, geography. Well, you can't teach everything. Now you're just teaching selfishness. Hey, those are the bands, those are the cams. We're into the game. Vitality versus NAVI on Bank. I'm curious to see if we'll get the full sort of tall extension. We have a lot of that possibility. You're looking at Rise on the role of the Vigil. You're looking at the cams offered by Valk, and she can offer a lot on this map. We've seen quite a big pickup of her in terms of how Bank has swung in. There is obviously some changes, but not a huge amount of changes to the map. The most I think we've seen in terms of change is obviously...
It's just the hatches.
Is Vault, is the option to now have a plan B on your approach into the basement.
Honestly, I think you can literally list the changes on your one hand. You have the two hatches that got changed. You have the two skylights that got changed. The windows from the garage. What do you have left? We have the steel or the concrete beams on the stairs that became wooden. So we got four big changes there. And the spawns. There we go. Yeah. I think that's all five. That's 5 big changes.
But I think what we've sort of seen from teams is the fact that the map feels different on comp is purely because of meta difference more than anything. Obviously, it's been quite a while since it was last in the game in terms of a comp perspective. We see these tall extensions, but we sort of saw those developing across maps that haven't gone out and gone back in. It's more of a stretch of the meta of the playstyle here. P4 playing on the role with this roam possibility, as I said, they can stack themselves with a lot of possibility. And it's sort of the ones that I highlighted as having that option that Navi's saying, well, let's not pay attention. Saves. He's slow crept his way in. They're going to prep themselves now for a bit of a pacey take. Cactus is trying to hold the angle. It gets knocked through, and P4 gets saves round, and that's through the hatch all the way from the top of square. They're able to strike there and take the body out and the connector, and that puts them in a really tricky situation. Navi thought they'd been very sneaky by finding their way all the way through here, but Blur, well, he's going to see if he can actually try and battle somewhere back. They still have a very firm hold on that hatch. Nath still has the diffuser and an eye towards the site, but look over towards green stairs. They still have these hatch controls. They're more than happy to play above the site.
Now, Blur does cover up the hatch, though, so there is no direct threat. Really coming down towards the Monty for now, and Grenade will force Cactus to fall back just slightly. Grenade, smokes are being tossed in here as Blur gets the first kill, knows the second one might be around the tellers, and does get picks up. It's going to be Nave that tries to get in deep just to make sure there is a plant opportunity for the side of Navi. And as he goes on now, he commits to it. Surely a bit of a collapse will come on the way. Cactus trying to run in. It's Doki to pick up the cover, however, and that means 45 seconds on the clock right now. They need to go for the retake, but it's a Monty. And of course, Doki up in the Yana against them. And Nave just somehow manages to get a kill out of that now. And I'm quite confused about that. What if Doki gets the kill instead? So Lee's just up to Rise now.
Honestly, the fact that the pair of them moved underneath Blur's push towards Square, took the distraction and went for the plant here is unbelievable. Trying to outrun and outgun a Monty that is making sure he stays one heavy step ahead of Rise, doing everything and finds it. Gets the shake and the shimmy onto the shoulder, but with only a couple of seconds left on that clock, just has to time this well. NAVI finally lock it off. And kudos and credit for them seeing an opportunity, taking it, even with an Echo still on the board, utilizing just the cover of the smokes to get the plant off.
Well played by them there, indeed. And, you know, we mentioned how P4 got saves very early on through the hatch from all the way on the top of square. But he managed to do his job before, and that was to open up that wall so that Monty could walk through with the shield extended. And that's exactly what happened there. Smokes came out, the plant came through, the cover of Doki was definitely there, and a grenade to follow it up right after as well to get the second. And now, the good hold of Vitality completely bypassed. Because it looked quite good. It was a 2-on-4 situation. It's just that the clutch factor on the side of Navi was too big in that round. And that's something they need to make sure they prevent from happening. It's not a great way to lose your first round. I think it's better if you just get flawless rather than losing a 2-on-4 in terms of mentality. Luckily, they're all at the same place. They're all in Stade de France. We will definitely see the coaches to... well, act if necessary, because now they can see all the body language as well. They can see if the players are starting to, well, lose hope or be like, what do we do? You know, it's not really going that well. I know I'm saying this has just been round one.
I was going to say.
It's not going to happen now.
It's been round one, and you're like, when you give up hope.
I'm not. I don't mean to be that
When
deep.
everything is against you.
But I just need to say.
And your back is against the wall.
If it happens,
they're there.
The coaches are now there, and it's easier for them to spot, I assume.
Yeah,
I don't assume it will. Let's just keep that clear.
Doki stepping up on the first round and now stepping in towards the fight, potentially on the top. They're not too far away, but there's always the present danger. You have to be quite swift here. The Pest is going to stop a drone entering with any pace, and the thing is, sometimes it's a bit of an auto-catch because you don't really know it's there until you throw the drone in through and catch it. You'd have to drone a long way round, so it does limit the use of utility that can otherwise be played and popped here. Doki's just trying to keep them guessing and open himself up some options that he can move and manipulate around. There's two bodies, one around the long desk side as well, to see if they can try and put some counter pressure in, but it needs Nath, who's currently above the skylight, to hold off to allow Blur to get the entrance here. They're isolating that square staircase, and that's going to push this buck all the way through. The pings come out, and suddenly they've slipped past. You assume a skeleton key is about to pop onto the wall just here, next to a man who will get the awareness. The Aruni is almost caught. The grenade over the top doesn't get them either, but Doki finally does.
I like how he just repelled inward after. He's like, that grenade should have surely killed anybody who would have been inside. Just repels in, and, well, turns out it was still someone. Bibu still inside the elevator here, has the opportunity to pick up the kill onto Doki. I'm not sure if this is a, no, it's not, that's the real deal. I thought it was maybe a Gemini, but not the case here. And Bibu alive for now, might be calling for a bit of help. The hatch needs to be opened up, but it's being done exactly so by Shinka, allowing him a rotation all the way back down towards the basement if they need it. And Bibu back on site now, but saves already very deep inside the tellers.
Yeah, saves had made his way there pretty quick. He knew there was going to be a bit of a pacey rotation. He was playing around lobby to give them a bit of that width there, and that is going to give them a bit of this countenance drop and the pop on the cam, limiting some of the intel in the pockets as they start their approach down the top of the white skylight stairs. Now, with Cactus being this backline, he's just keeping a bit of a reach and a bit of a hold on anything that might be around them. Ready to pop with a super shorty, but it's saves that's still popping off in the meantime. Digs through the middle, finds one. Rise is just playing above the hatch that could get open, but instead he's going to use it to swing around. They know where he is, but he wins the first fight, goes for the second, can't get it. Blur in the middle of the room with Nath keeping him covered. And NAVI find their second in a row.
Very well played there. I was going to say, like, see the castle there is trying to line himself up into the right spot next to the castle barricade. I'm like, I'm interested to see what this will turn out to be, but then Saves like, I've had enough of this. Just storms into the side and takes that kill. This ends whatever was being prepped there, and Navi currently 2-0 up against Vitality. Vitality, who previous, when they were all in France together inside of the Stade de France, had an amazing run. And then in that very final game where they had the opportunity to qualify, they all went home. Right now, they haven't been able to find success in the first game. Second game, not the strongest of starts so far. But it's still early. It's still round number 3 that we're getting in the way of. And it will be Teller's office and the archives. Of course, Cactus's current position is called Teller's. The area behind it is the office. Either way, See a top floor extension just slightly. Cactus doing the exact same right below next to the elevators, making sure that from the side office you're not going to be able to just jump in straight away into the elevator hallway. Just looking, there's no Cade on the board. That could be used to get all 4 of those walls with a single electric claw. Instead we do see the mute. Has been in combination with the Mozzie throughout this game. However, I don't think NAVI has had too much of an issue yet with their information game.
You know, it's always one of those things to call there in the situation is NAVI's pace. Is it the fact that they're going to expected positions based on prep and homework and research and all of that stuff, or is it the active drone game? Saves being able to get there, I think, if anything, is more punishing the lack of intel that Vitality's bringing. Or, in any case, actually, they're not really bringing a lack of intel. We're seeing them double down on a lot of these intel operators, and yet they're losing sight and losing focus on players that are able to get in positions to punish them time and time again. Rise here in the first firefight. Comes through the wall of the stock as the drone drifts on by. There's a bit of active intel. Has potentially a slip out there. Finds it, and P4 finds Blur. In the meantime, the cover comes through, and they punish the pace from within the office.
Tries to go aggressive there, Badoki manages to get it from the rappel. Just sprays from the right to the left, and that means that the CEO office is now cleared out. Allows him to enter, as the rest of Vitality still debating whether or not to keep control of that top floor or to give it away, because you know how important it can be, but the buck has been taken care of. It's one of the 2 soft breach operators that were brought by NAVI. However, there is a bit of redundancy. There is still a sledge, there is still saves, and he surely will be starting to open up soon with still 2 nitros on the board.
Did you see the difference there? Durkee, instead of swinging around Banana, sent a drone out first and was able to find some success talking off secretly, drove his way into the site, or at least the rotation close towards it, flat on with the push, took the first, the grenade almost takes care of Shinka. A bit of a moment there where Shinka went for the fight based on intel, but it was the swing of the grenade that almost cost him. Now, as he knows he's under a bout of pressure, it's going to be down to Bibu to see if he can offer some swing, but as the entrance might come through from behind, there's a bit of a bit of a pre-fire from Secretly, who's doing loop-de-loops. That's the last one, though. Rise from the back line of the open office, gets one and tries to get himself reacquainted with the possibility of finding a second. The rest of the pressure is still coming towards the site. The long line down the back gets popped open. This gives Nace the backbone to the site itself, a precious wall to get a hold on.
Just looking through the monitor right here, saw someone just cross. It's going to be holding it off for now. Still 3 and 40 seconds on the clock. Saves doing a whole lot of work here. Trying to open up all the angles, trying to find out if someone is actually inside the site. Now, none of that is the case. Of course, we have, I believe it's kitchen and open area, and then one is quite close, actually, towards the side. It's Shinka that is in that side office for, of course, that hatch. As the thermite charge is now about to be placed, there's 20 seconds left on the clock. They need to be very quickly now with getting that plan down. Might have been better to go to the office instead, but instead Doki inside of the B in the archives. They want to go for the plant, and he will go down. 45 seconds, and now they need to get the flank watch on point.
Saves gets the first. Bibu sprays down a post plant, but Rise has slipped his way around onto the back line just to watch Shinka drop out. Sprays over, finds Nath. But they now know where he is. He's going to see if he can get a bit of a connection and have some semblance of safety. They just drop him in response. Na'Vi. They seemed like they slowed for a second, but still saw an opportunity as a route into the site. They had the confidence to make the plant stick. Okay, There's 11 seconds left. One of those gunfights, one of those flank watches goes awry, and suddenly you're in a tricky situation, but they're third round in these teams, and they know that they should have been more competitive so far throughout this game because they're having these little moments, but Na'Vi keep finding a weakness and finding and exploiting a weakness. P4 as a player, that's his job. That's his role when he's on the attack, is finding and exploiting weaknesses, and he's very good at it.
He does on the defense as well.
Exactly, and seeing him be the leading voice for a situation like this is perfect. You want to make sure that your professional person in that position is able to read where things are disconnected and where they can sort of talk about them and thread it back to the rest of the team. If it came down to other problems, if it came down to other holds, you know that there would be other voices as vocal. So, can they take the lessons learned from this? Can they try and find themselves a little bit more confidence in the trade situation and control over a Na'Vi that just keeps punishing them so far?
Yeah, Na'Vi thus far has been phenomenal on this bank so far. They've been able to pick up 3 of those rounds. Really starting to sway the favor. Well, not even starting to sway it, just starting to like put it in concrete. Just put it on the floor like that. Really making sure that this game's going their way. 3 more rounds they have on the attack. 3 more rounds for Vitality to start making something happen here on the defense themselves. And let's hope that the tactical timeout has worked out. The Yoka drones are being put into a position far into the lobby. It's a lot of information that they now have in this position, something they might have been lacking before. Let's see if that will be the difference maker. Just those 2 Yokais giving away the information.
NAVI are starting their approach now. They're expecting more expectation here from the hold than they've been.
Oh, no way.
Before, and that is just a tragic start there. Caught out rotating underneath the white skylight. A very... It's an irritating death because he knows he's misplayed that.
It's very unfortunate indeed the way that went. He probably had no clue someone was up there and tried to just go down, gets picked up, and lose the Banshee as well. You're always going to be losing one in that situation. Doki just using a grenade for some barbed wire there onto the, spiral stairs here. Shows you the plan that NAVI want to go for. They want to just quickly force themselves through. However, P4 and Bibu both in positions to stop that from happening. There is, however, an opportunity to get rid of him, and that will be from below. You have the opportunity to get inside of that vault, open up that hatch, and maybe even get a grenade through right away. Instead, it's the ADSs that got wasted first. A new grenade is getting tossed in. That lands quite far. Gets rid of the Mew Gemmer, but it's not going to be enough to actually deal damage to Bibu. Maybe. Oh, there you have it. Second grenade will actually catch. Beautifully tossed in. And now it's just P4 inside of the office here, the front desk.
Was that all the way from the double door on the swing round? Well, let's see if Banana is the next place. They can try and put a bit of a split in. Finds one, almost finds the second, but picked up by a teammate. It's a third! Just missed on the connection there around the swing, but actually no. Someone else got the pickup instead. Either way, suddenly, Vitality's been able to actually strike back. They found a bit of a revenge and response for the play that had otherwise been suffered, and now the 2 NAVI players are very separated. Also from the diffuser. The kit sits at the top of a very long staircase right now, and that is the worry because it's surrounded by the blood of your teammates, and you've now got to see if you can try and apply some pressure elsewhere. P4, well aware that there's somebody on the swing, but he's not going to give the game away. 30 seconds, all the pressure is on for NAVI. They've got to be the ones that have to push. P4 has no need to try and apply the pressure back on. Blur, in the meantime, has snuck his way up, but not very far. Cactus had the eyes on the watch. P4 has the lock off. There's some more energy. There's some slaps on the back, and there is a bit of a wake-up call from Vitality.
There it is. That's the first round, and it started off very strong here for the side of NAVI. They managed to get that first one on the rotation down the skylight. They managed to get the second inside of the elevator with a very long tossed-in grenade. However, after that, it was Vitality with their crossfires, their cross angles, because where someone died, someone new just took their place. And they managed to keep a hold of those strong positions, basically effectively putting all 3 remaining guns right onto the spiral stairs, gunning down 3 of them, 3 of those NAVI players who tried to push up. And round 5, now about to start. Tactical timeout worked for now. They've got their first round. May it be due to NAVI being a bit too eager with pushing up this hard onto the spiral stairs on that top floor. It was a good read from them. It was a good crossfire that was there, and also good decision making to quickly replace those positions that were lost earlier.
3-1. They've finally been able to find an end to a round where things have gone their way, because to be fair, the first round, it was a very sneaky play that got NAVI the lead in, and since then things didn't quite connect. The second and the third sort of had their own problems, and these were little mistakes and little slip-ups that were leading to NAVI able to punish them. This round opened the same. The most recent round opened the same. They started with little mistakes, little punished moments, but taking the mantle and bringing that round back into their favor, that's probably the best mental win you can have, because it starts with, oh no, it's happening again, to no, not today. But you still want to see if you can get a handle on those little mistakes. We've got to pay attention to the early round here of Vitality. That is where the biggest problems are still happening. That is where they need to try and thread this back together.
That wall, that quad wall we just saw there inside the kitchen, it's what I mentioned before in the previous round, where we were actually in the archives, and the tellers, of course, doesn't matter as much now. Still no opportunity to truly try and contest though, so there is a lot of free ground to be gained for the side of NAVI inside of this square area. It's just P4 really that is trying to challenge it as much as he does, and as we know him to, Drones are trying to figure out where they are. There's a player inside of the elevator. P4 just staying put for now, but I believe there is a bit of pressure coming in soon.
P4's playing this much more passive than he was in the previous round as well. It's one of the things worth noting. As I said, the early game is where they are struggling. Blur, in the meantime, he's waiting. The flash is going to pop in, but it's the pressure up. White, I don't think they expected it. The drop comes through. P4 is probably going to get the read that somebody's in long as well. They've covered the movement for Bibu. Rise is still going to hold around the White stairs, but he doesn't want to get dropped from the skylight as well, as his position will be revealed too. So he has to make the decision. The one he's made is head to the top and see if he can drop and take the fight. In the meantime, they're still going to see if they can recollect. Pre-fires, spray and pray, and hope that they can get a connection. P4 is going to make a move and try and slip out of there as the swing comes through. Nath gets the first, and the second fight is angling its way. If P4 has gone unchecked, this could be the next bout of pressure.
He cannot go through these beepers here because that will give away his position, but Doki gets the kill nonetheless. Instantly grabs that drone, 3 on 5. The advantage is still for Navi. There's a minute 10 on the clock, and you look at the amount of utility that's left. We still have Bibu with a Nitro, we still have Shinka with a Nitro. Those could be used there as Blur, with a bit of unlucky timing there. Spots someone running away as he opens up the ceiling, and now Shinka is waiting with that Nitro to try and find the right spot to get the kill, and that will be on Nave before it actually detonates there, but he is in the DBNO stay. He's not completely out. I'm not quite sure if he plays down the exothermic before, because if he hasn't, there's going to be a second opportunity for him to go for the actual pickup. They're definitely hearing this now. Does still have the exothermic left. We'll be placing it again, but Bibu still has a Nitro left himself as well. Decides to not go for the toss here and just holds off to the rotation for now.
As it gets popped open, we're looking at 30 seconds. The Secretly's trying to apply some pressure here onto the quad wall itself. Saves, dropped through and was the man of the moment previously, but they're aware of this rotation that might come through from that room stacked with so much potential danger. Bibu, hovering over a hatch with his C4, gives him, well, not an option really of a rotate because it's too close for the danger, but he drops and picks up Nathan. The swing round onto Doki, saves in the meantime in the core, but the C4 gets one more. Bibu finds his triple, locked off by Shinka with a shotgun, suddenly in the middle of a 1 versus 1, and a shotgun for the double!
Oh, you saw it right there. Says had no idea where he was. He made a 360 or 2, but a shotgun for the double in the end. They see the moves are starting to liven up right here from Vitality. Shoulder punches are coming out. It's like, let's go. We got this. We're bringing it back from 0-3 to potentially 3-3 now suddenly. And Teller's Archives will be the next site. Now, this is where I had the most critique. They were just allowed to freely walk into the Archives here with the side of Navi. That is something Vitality needs to prevent from happening now.
That's it. We're still seeing the early game go Navi's way, and it's still coming down to these sort of clutchy, swingy one way or another ways, and it's getting Vitality to the line, but you're still sort of sitting there wanting, I guess, a little bit more. I'm not sure what you're wanting a little bit more of in the early, because there they tried a more passive play, and Navi was still able to sort of punish it. They tried to bite themselves in. Don't get me wrong, they almost got the opening kill on Blur. The sort of altercation that happened around Long Desk and the protection of Bibu inside, we think if he wasn't there, Bibu wouldn't have been there, and they wouldn't have won the round potentially, because Bibu, the man of the moment there, pulled the triple.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely did well in that case. Is that an early C4 that got tossed? Yeah. They have too many C4s, so Bibu had to use his to make a rotation, I think. If I understand that well. I think, yeah, it's at the top there into Janitor. Not wanting to move Shinka all the way up with the limited time you have during the prep phase. This Nitro Cell gets used early on to make sure there is that rotation availability. Still, however, 3 left to be able to be used to stop Navi from their vertical hold. Something they love to do. Blur and Saves both carry those soft breaching capabilities here. Let's see if they're going to be able to put those to use, or if they're being met with a Nitro Cell themselves.
BB using a C4 for rotation just gave me that flashback towards when Mozzie had a shotgun.
Yeah, I understand.
How powerful that was.
I liked it, actually. I mean, yeah, I get it, right? It's like you need one shotgun operator less on your lineup to make sure that you have those rotations. But it's also just like if you're on the roam, you can just create the rotations on the go. You just shoot 3 bullets and you suddenly have a rotation in there. As Doki already, I think, deep in going all the way to Banana. Maybe the Beepers will give away some of the game here.
That definitely will. Shut the camera and dropped. And Bibu's playing around here. They were in these situations before, and while they were unaware, this time they are.
Beautiful.
2 stories of a catch and saves was there with open hands and a fully loaded gun that was pointed towards the bottom of the elevator. Rise picked up next, but P4 at least finds one back as Doki eyes down the white stairs. P4 with a second causing problems. The Valkyrie underneath. And that puts Secretly out of action as well. 3 frag grenades still left. The Maverick wasn't the biggest draw in the pool here in terms of the utility he can bring, but still very important for a player to bite back. And we saw the energy he had before. He's making sure that carries on.
P4 on the front line here. Knows one is inside of ATMs after Saves managed to pick up the kill. The drone is being pinged. They know it's there. Trying to find an angle, but can't quite do that yet. Snave just jumps over now as well, so surely that call will come through as he decides to open up onto the elevator hallway. Just create another angle that the defenders will have to worry about. There's also a direct entry, of course, into the archives, into tellers rather, that they will have to worry for. So as a Gemini is trying to get as much information as possible, you know that Navi's trying to go for the office now.
That's it, and it's currently jammed, but they do have the option of verticality if they want to put the risk in. We just heard, I think, a gun 6 pop off towards the potential of a swing round onto the backside. The flash is over the top to make sure that they have some approach here as Shinka has gone for a sneak around green. Gonna see if he can potentially come back up the spiral, the square stairs, even with the idea that it was locked off as Doki goes through. Nate Berry's behind, and Shinka's movement here could be that make or break. The pings are continual, and the hot fire comes through on the back. Shinka sneaks through, but there's one, got the cover. There's a triple for P4. It's just Saves, and he's not gonna lock it off. And they find themselves back in. More pats on the back I think I needed for P4. The man has fury and fire, and he's not done yet.
He was the one that was most vocal during the tactical timeout. He's the one that picks up these oh-so-important kills every single round. Really showing up big here. Now, 3-3. Looked like it might have been a blowout in the making from Navi. It looked like they were setting their dominance upon their opponents of Vitality, but then Vitality decided it's time to fight back. And now a blitz is being brought out.
Okay,
I'm not quite sure where this will come into play. We are going to lockers. Is this just going to be a quick push down from the servers right into CCTV, red, and onwards?
I mean, you're looking.
How heavy is the roam of Navi? That's the question.
I'm so curious. Whenever you see a blitz on the board, you're curious. And usually you will see it in a game where it's, if you're at this point, it's 5-1 or 6-0. And they've gone onto the attack and they're going to play a blitz and take them by surprise.
Such a good drone.
A 3-3 with how intense this game is. You've 6-picked onto a blitz.
Oh, this is helping them very. You might not realize it, but the hatch being reinforced in bottom square, that makes it so none of the Navi players have the opportunity to open that one up and grab an angle from behind. So if they do decide to rush, the only real way you can challenge is either directly from CCTV or the blue stairs that Saves is playing in.
All right, Blitz, where are you? What are you doing? You're currently droning out. You want to head towards Saves. You're going to try and take that shotgun face on and see if you can put the pressure into what is an awkward fight for whoever's at the top. Usually it's a bout of waiting and expecting a lot of utility to come through. It's a long clear. Doing it with a blitz might just be that bit of pace.
Maybe a bit of pace to come through. It's definitely not a rush, though. As they're taking their time, just checking those yokais for a bit of information, see where they're coming in from. That might have been some sort of pre-place. No, it's actually just to guide the spawn peak, or the run out rather, from the side of stock, just to make sure there's a bit of pressure coming down into the Vitality players early on.
Well, Rise is actually going towards the drop on dirt by the looks of it. They've read that there's quite a width and height to it, so Cactus with a diffuser is going to move a little bit ahead, but is probably going to meet 2 English shotguns held either side, as well as potentially the canisters. Though those head a little bit further up the quick blue stairs slow. That is the mantra, that is the method, and that is the hope that they go a bit undetected, but not far behind is a big clunky shield, and that is going to hit every single alarm possible. The first drone, the call, there might be some attention, and the rotation from the smoke down yet again.
Oh, here he comes, and now he has extra ADS speed as well together with that shield. Gets the first flash, it's Cactus with the first kill. The second goes down, it's Blur inside. It's going to be a smoke canister, so they have to fall back a little bit. But P4 already down on the blue stairs here. It's just a complete shutout from Vitality with just Nate left now. Has the opportunity to use the Yokai drones when instead he chooses to go for the gunfight. It's Shinka that loses out first. It's a 4-on-1, but they get it in the end. B4 gets that final kill. And it turned out to start quite slow, but it became a rush as the round went on. So very well played by them. They also realized we cannot just all go through that tunnel because there will be someone on the server stairs. And that's exactly where they came into play.
That was it. It was so well executed. The moment that the pressure started to come down, they had other support structures. They had other places. Sure, the first firefight happened away from the servers, away from the stairs, and another place, I believe, on the opposite side to draw some attention. But then the swing, the pickup, and the cover from Cactus connected to lead to the first Vitality attack.
I want to say I like how prediction was so certain Vitality would win.
I saw that.
When it was a 1v4, they already swapped to the cat. It's like, you know, you're saying GG when there's just one player left of your team. It's match
Production
point.
is toxic.
I didn't want to say it, but it does come down to that fact. Either way, 4-3. Vitality have the lead. After Navi won the first 3 rounds of the game, they have not been able to win a single one after. And I think that if this round does go Vitality's way as well, we are definitely going to be seeing a tactical timeout from Navi, because that will be 5 chained in a row. That's definitely something you want to stop before it gets out of hand.
That's it. I mean, you have to give so much kudos for the team talk. The moment that happened, because the rounds were slipping away from Vitality. And
kudos to P4, actually.
Kudos to P4, for sure, but also the rest of the team that stepped up. Because sometimes passionate pleas can fall upon deaf ears. Sometimes teams don't have the best reaction to that sort of emotion. And, you know, it's one of those things where it shows a lot of trust in the team and a lot of that sort of confidence that when you are getting this sort of high pressure, high intensity, and high emotion speech and match and game and whatever, that you respond well and you respond to it. And that is entirely what we've seen here from Vitality.
Responding well to whatever the call was that came through in that tactical timeout. We will probably never know, but the players definitely do, and it seems to be working out for them. All being together really works out well, as Rise knows that the drone is being threatened with its life, and just decides to play the savior, hunting for the player, whoever was it, that was putting down those bullets. I only count 4 players on the side. There's 1 on the loose. Oh no, Nave down there in the garage. Never mind, I just lost him. Bottom of the frame. I was going to say, there's 4 people. Where's the 5th? But it's just outside the frame. And they're all downstairs at the basement. So that means it's free play for the side of Vitality up on the top floor here. However, the biggest real threat will be that laser sight you just saw. That means there is a shotgun right around the corner, secretly waiting for someone to peek in. And as a drone will be trying to get the spot out, it's going to be a smoke canister to be deployed, but it will most likely be followed up with a perfectly cooked grenade. Maybe even more than that. You see them slow walking around the corner. The flashbangs are coming in. They're going in with the skeleton key. Beautiful shot. How do you deal with a shotgun, Emmy? You just bring one of your own.
Bring your own. And now they've got close for the second fight with a shotgun. Rise locks it off, but with the other utility that gun brings, hard bullets. They don't connect with the Echo drone that slips on by, but still the confidence to throw a flash and then go behind it, baiting the idea that a grenade is to follow next. The swing in, the aggression is something Vitality have in spades right now. There's still an Echo on the board. Nath is isolated on the far side, and he can bring those drones round. Vitality are droning out. They're clearing themselves the pocket of space. They have 50 seconds, and now as the back wall starts to get blown open, Blur is the long-range fight potential. In terms of utility to bait out, the smoke's obviously gone. There is still a C4 in the pocket of Blur, and they know that that's going to land exactly where it needs to, so what do? Rotate. Diversify your push. Find an alternate angle, and that is going to be the hatches. 30 seconds. More than enough time to get yourself cracked in.
P4 is going all the way to the garage right here as Doki hears it open up. There is the Nitro, there is the Yokais. They know they're on the board as well. And with 20 seconds left on the clock, P4 is definitely putting up some pace here. Doki gets the first kill, but instantly gets traded out as the plant needs to go down. Now they get the Yokai, they get the second! Ryzen The rest of Vitality just collapsed at the very final seconds, and I had my wonders about whether or not the garage push would be working out that late into the round, but able to get that surprise, get the yokai, well, not the yokai, the Echo instead, who controls the yokais.
Ignore the yokai.
Ignore the yokai in that case, just go for the kills, and Vitality now 5-3. No technical timeout. Navi continuing their current pace, and Teller's Archives will be the next one.
5 in a row. 5 in a row for Vitality, and they are looking scary. They are looking so good at just putting the pressure on when and where they need to. Again, if I'm going to talk about how the teamwork has to be built around the idea of having those high-impact conversations at times when you're down, when things aren't connecting, and building from there, it's also worth highlighting the conversation of there's 20 seconds left. Okay, we need to do this. And whoever made the call, whoever sort of drove that, that's a lot of trust at that point. Instead of trying to force your way in when you have a clear route to potentially a site, but you still have utility to bait, to instead split yourself into 3 different locations, put yourself back into the line of danger, and then to act on those calls with the sharpness that they just did.
This play, though.
This was just filthy.
Beautiful, just coming in with the skeleton key right there, and then the second one as well as the shotgun swings around the corner. He actually managed to get a pellet off, just not quite the kill. I also want to compliment the fact that there seems to be no questions at Vitality's side. The call came in, you go garage, the rest goes here, and you just do it. You don't question it. Question it later if it's necessary. Doki, however, gets the kill. Bibu drops. That's going to be a good start at least. The hat comes out, trying to get into their heads right now as, well, they definitely need a bit of help here, so maybe that is it.
2 players having a good time always when they play, and they're going to make sure they put a little back of that heat back onto the board there. The take on the first, and that's not how that goes, P4, but at least it wasn't cooked.
That would have been worse. Imagine if it was cooked and he just killed himself like that. That would have been very unfortunate here for... Well, he just spots the long angle there with the actual jump on the drone. However, it gets taken care of. Just a bit of a wallbang to come through right after. So that was a single grenade left. Now, I don't think you're going to be able to toss that into the right angle. Saves, however, holding it from the side of Archives, able to stop anybody from moving into top square. And Vitality, again, calling for a bit of a rotate here. Different approach. Lost one of their members, deciding to go more towards the lobby side right now. Whilst the rest of Navi still, of course, holding on to that top floor control, whilst Rise is trying to put some pressure down.
Rise is going to see if he can open up the swing angle and try and just widen the approach so they can try and grab a single Navi player. It's a dangerous game. The longer you're out here, the more you've got to have the trust in the players. But as we said, and as we spoke about before, that's something Vitality have. It's also fair to mention that they are in a LAN environment. They're all in the same room. They have their amazing support staff behind them. Those sort of energy, or capitalizing on that, is an easier thing to do. One slipped past, and the disc will go over the top to bait a little bit more attention. Those are all getting caught, though, trying to find the fight here on the spray. There's multiple bodies. One slips through. Rise suffers. It's only a matter of time before they now start trying to angle some grenades up there.
And now this wall needs to open up, and that will be Selma that takes care of the job. Players are inside and they're above and they're everywhere, so Vitality really need to hit the nail on the head right here if they want to make sure this execute sticks. Rise is on the angle, he's waiting for the flank. A grenade of P4 kills himself, and Doki, not quite sure how that one happened, maybe from the top floor. Either way, it's going to be a 3-on-4 situation. Vitality is a man down, and also they're P4 down.
Yeah, I suppose I have some questions. Maybe he tried to blow it up underneath Banana, but was a bit too close to the fire and suffered himself. Either way, Rise is the one that gets the lock on the opposite side and saves. Dug in, hopped up, gets one, gets dropped, gets traded 10 seconds. Blur is able to lock it off from above. The diffuser is smoked. He's going to have to take the damage, try and tank it and move on. Only a handful of seconds. Now saves, leading a bit of that. Blur left on the board, finishes the work saves did in dropping the diffuser on the back line. Threaded together, Navi find one.
Yeah, they managed to find one finally yet again in round 10. It's going to start now. The opportunity for Navi to try and equalize the score yet once more. Or the next opportunity for Vitality to set themselves up to 6. It was a very close round in the end, though. Diffuser being dropped is, of course, the key part. Saves able to get that from the verticality. Again, I'm not quite sure how Doki and P4 were both dropped with the same grenade. Maybe, as you said, it bounced back and, you know, he got quite low. Or maybe he was being shot at whilst he threw it and then got the kill, but also got himself with it because he wasn't like 1 or 2 HP. I don't know. Doesn't matter in the end.
It happened.
You can continue asking the question.
It happened.
It happened. And that's it.
Unless Doki caught it, ran at him, took them both out.
He just grabbed it along and he's like, I'm taking you with me. You know, it's just maybe. Maybe Buddy blocked it, made it bounce back.
Maybe.
So many opportunities here.
Headed it.
Yeah, maybe. Just a bit of a footy game, you know?
All these possibilities, and none of them true. 5-4, but 5 of those for Vitality were in a row, and that has finally come to an end. Navi found a round, their first in a long time, and they're going to be feeling that just as much as Vitality are. Vitality still have a lot of energy. I think, again, 1 or 2 of those moments went their way, and it could have been 6-3 on our board at the top center.
Yeah.
Both teams are aware of that, and Navi's still yet to take their time out. They still think that they can build behind this and push it. The drone in the bush is going to have the read here, and this should be a quick pickup. Doki obviously doesn't know it's there, but he's at least going to lean into the fight and takes it even whilst droned.
Fire headshot with the MPX right there. Rise managed to do a little bit of damage. He used the skeleton key to try and lock off that kill, but failed to do so successfully. However, there's going to be a bit of a drop, and Bibu has the opportunity to take control of that top floor of the side of CEO. Player inside of the janitor now, though. Nave has opened up some of these angles. P4 gets a grenade kill into saves, at least brings it back to equal numbers, and as more of these magnets are being tossed out right now after the grenade kill just came in, it is a player like Blur that feels like, I could be meeting the same fate if I don't protect myself from any of these grenades to come in. So let's make sure those magnets are down as his position does get spotted out, and Blur, Bibu now, actually, has that grenade available to him. I might actually just toss that in deep.
He's thinking, he's eyeing up the possibility. Obviously, Nath is around the back line on janitors as well, so anything that comes through needs a bit of support, and that's slowly coming. P4 stacked up here towards the janitor door. That's going to give a bit of the game away that they're approaching, but it will draw some attention from Bibu. The pop of the smoke pulls them back. The ping over the ping gives them a game, and Nath gets dropped, and there it is. The ping comes through. Nath can... Oh, well, not even Nath. Nath can't do anything now, but Bibu can potentially enter onto those windows and swing to put pressure onto Blur. 3-4
situation this time in favor of Vitality. Very important round for them. Doki playing below just as secretly. It's just Blur left on this top floor, and with a minute left on the clock, while Vitality, they want to make sure they at least open up some of these angles down towards the site. That does mean they need to get this very final player. They need to catch him off, and as grenades are starting to be tossed in, it's actually Blur with an impact. It's being droned out very heavily right now, though, and that means the pressure will surely be on. You see the support coming up from Doki onto the main stairs, wants to help. If it is really coming down to this moment, as Blur is taking even more damage, will finally be picked up before turns his attention to the main stairs. But as the hatches are being opened up, they have the opportunity to drop now. 30 seconds, secretly inside of the kitchen, Doki inside of the elevator. Are these the right positions?
Well, they're the ones that they're stuck in for now, in 20 seconds. We know Vitality can do a lot with a little bit of time. The first thread is going to come here, around on the back line, and that'll give the game away on where Doki is, but he has the impact if he wants to rotate. Unfortunately, no option is presented as Shinka locks it off. 10 seconds, and the spray through as they try and find the first fight. Vitality find the next round, and they find themselves one step away from securing 3 points.
One small step away from setting themselves up for a potential major run yet once more. I have no clue how long they will be in
powerful enough to drive back into this bank game. To the top we go. Navi are going to try and hold Exec and CEO to see if they can lock off. The swap of the Valkyrie to the Alibi is going to bait and put some pressure on the windows, and the swing is going to be slightly disallowed from the approach otherwise could have been.
For sure. It's always interesting, actually. Like, we never really saw much Alibi until the MX4 Storm, of course, got that 1.5. That's when she really shot up in the presence. I think we can say the same about Frost. It's an operator we actually never really saw. I know Gamma liked to play with it a bit in Challenger League here and there and managed to get quite some success with it, but once the 9mm managed to get that 1.5, that is really the moment when she started to shoot up in popularity. And even though she lost it now, it's still being played quite a bit in maps like Chalet, for example.
The gun's solid, and the disturbance that can play on Windows is solid too. And, you know, occasionally you'll see the slug gun from one of the Italian operators.
Yeah, the ACS.
Not too common. The ACS can have a bit of a fun. I know a lot of people not in the comp scene will run the ACS just because it's a very fun gun.
Stoldersma, his favorite gun, actually.
I think it's Easy's favorite gun as well.
It just sounds so great when you shoot it. It
sounds great. My friends, apparently Easy stole his personality from Toldersma. My friends generally play the ACS as well. I never get a chance to look in. That's how fun that gun is. It's people who casually play Siege.
They just use it.
They just want to play the ACS. But moral of the story, hey, look how good her other gun can be in the right hands. Utility that can get brought as well. Again, played underneath Windows, causes those problems. We've seen a lot of people take fights through alibis. They'll take fights through them rather than, like, you know, just sort of sit on the laurels because it becomes awkward as an attacker.
I think Frost and Alibi are being played quite similarly, and you might be able to how, but you see often prisms being placed next to those windows as well, right? So if you want to take a gunfight through it, you're going to have to shoot through the prisma, which means they will know exactly where you are. It makes these, as you said, it makes it so awkward to try and take those gunfights through. Whereas Frost's often placed in the windows next to door frames just to catch people off guard and to force them to, you know, when they jump in, to look down first before they go for a gunfight.
Is Blair doing a run out?
Is he doing a run out? No.
He was toying with
think about it. It's like just quickly checking up in the garage, you know, seeing if the coast is still clear. Sometimes, you know, you have that one sneaky person trying to go through just to try and disrupt, but not the case now. Not quite sure if Secretly feels so safe anymore inside of the elevator. Because that's the opportunity to get a magnet down as Doki just barely misses the head there. There's also still a rappel up on side of the garage side on west. Cactus able to potentially put up some support there as well.
Now Rise might find himself swung on from Blur. It's the buck underneath. Get out of there, Secretly. Get out of there. As he's suddenly in a very tricky situation. He still has a disc by the look of it in the top corner, but whether he expected that to be in there or not, and it happened as soon as he had the floor dropped from underneath him, who knows? 50 seconds though, and they still haven't been able to grab the first player from NAVI. Blur is still loose underneath as well and could become a problem, but the first opens up. The elevator finally falls, comes down, press the button, and Secretly was delivered. But unfortunately now it's out of order and you've got to take the stairs as your way up. The swing onto Banana comes through and the first fight goes against him. Rise still on his namesake as he keeps pushing higher and further. Nath drops on the long office table and the angles are being staunchly watched by Rise, who's swinging, getting even deeper into the site. The call will come through as Blur picks up one and saves a piece. He's to your left, mate. You've gone right past him.
There's no time for it. They need to get the diffuser out. It's just 10 seconds left on the clock and it's Blur alive still, going through the janitor. The plant will be going down shortly, deep in the corner right next to the reinforced wall. There's no opportunity for him to get it, and it's going to be Rise with the very final kill. Vitality grabbed the win. They grabbed the 3 points and they keep the dream for the major in Sweden alive. This is where hopefully this boot camp will finally come into fruition, because over the last couple of stages they've gotten so close, and then that final game every single time was what put them down. But for now, they're top 4. Let's see if they can stay there this time.
That's it. It's stressed but well.